All right, a lot of college football storylines to get into. Yeah, the season's almost over, but let's bring in the expert, Pete Fiutak from College Football News, joining us. What's going on, my man?
Well, it's snowing here. So other than that, it's 2022. You'd think they figured out how to stop this, but other than that, everything's going all right.
All right, so let's play a little game to start things off. And I'm going to ask, and then I'll have some follow-ups for you. But what has been the most surprising storyline this season in college football?
Okay, so severely deep cuts under the radar. How about UConn making a bowl game, Duke making a bowl game, Kansas making a bowl game? I mean, like, you want to talk about like if you could parlay that into a trifecta, forget it. You would never, the odds would be astronomical. And like, look, I get it. It's schedules. I get it. Getting to 6 wins shouldn't be that hard if you're not in the SEC West. But there are a lot of programs out there that have not had any fun ever. I mean, and now they get to kind of rise up and have a little bit of fun, but on a bigger, larger scale. It's Alabama is out of the. We're talking right here on what is it, November 15th,
Yeah.
and Alabama's been out of the national championship picture for a couple weeks. But as we just talked about off the air. I mean, life in the SEC. I mean, Alabama. Oh my gosh, the Nick Saban era. It's dying. Dude's a knuckleball field goal and a illegal pick play away from being undefeated and the number one team going into tonight's college football playoff rankings. So, like, that's just how the razor thin margin in that conference, especially that division.
How about some other ones for you? LSU, that storyline there. They start off with the loss to Florida State, but yet they'll be in Atlanta, something that Jimbo hasn't been able to do, and several other programs in the SEC West.
Look, I am not a Brian Kelly fan for a whole slew of reasons from things that happened at Notre Dame, but he is one hell of a football coach. I mean, that was kind of the argument, though. I mean, it's LSU, and they've got guys. I mean, you've got NFL talent there. It's one of the, you throw it there with Texas A&M and an Alabama and Ohio State. Of where are the places that just have the guys that you could say, look, if you mold it a certain way, maybe get the right transfer here, get a little bit of luck with injuries and timing and other things, and this could work. And look, they had the one big game. They rose up and beat Bama, did what it had to do, and now it's going to be in the SEC championship with a crazy puncher's chance of pulling that off, and then all of a sudden putting the college football playoff committee in a real bind.
All right, so let's talk about the team here in College Station. Look, I don't think anybody saw this bad,
No.
but just how surprising has this A&M season been in your eyes?
All right, to put it relatively speaking, this, of course, it's surprising. No chance. I mean, of course, nobody would have thought that they would not have a winning season and not even become. But there are a lot of games where they were just this close to welcome to life of the SEC. I mean, ifs and buts. Welcome to the SEC. But you could make an argument that they were roughly 3 or 4 plays away from this being a vastly different season. And on the flip side, that kick by Arkansas goes this way, and it could be even worse. So but that's the game. Surprise wise, though, I never really thought, we talked about this before, that A&M was this top 6 team, only because, while yes, the recruiting classes are amazing, the lines are going to be phenomenally talented over the next several years. Where are the skill guys? I mean, everyone's got skill guys in the SEC, but the quarterback situation not quite settled. The wide receiver situation, look, it's the same thing at Georgia and Alabama, and they were able to overcome it, but you don't have necessarily the high end guys. So, like, when the razor thin margins are there between all these teams, and the one question mark was the A&M skill guys were a little bit more questionable than the other guys, but certainly not. It shouldn't have been this bad because of it.
How about the season that TCU's having? What an amazing year so far. 10-0. They just beat Texas in a defensive battle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that the Big 12 was the most reliable pick all year. Every game was 38-34. Go over on all of it, and you'd be all right. But yeah, obviously last week went the other way. But look, and I don't mean to keep harping on this and being a broken record here, but who you beat? Like, you look at Texas A&M's schedule and look at TCU's schedule. Look, if everybody could go 10-0, it's that easy, everyone would do it. But what's their big win? I mean, at this point, is it Kansas State? Okay, I guess. Can they get by the Texas? Everyone overrated them a little bit because they watched them play Alabama and made it a close game. But it's not like they're playing a bunch of killers yet. So we'll see. They should beat Baylor this weekend. I think they lose the Big 12 championship to Kansas State. But if they don't, hey, look, 13-0, they are in the college football playoff no matter what. Don't apologize. Who cares about your schedule? You're a Power 5 conference champion. Get in and take your cuts.
A lot of football has to be played, but what do you think is more likely? Two SEC teams, which I don't know, or two Big Ten teams?
Oh, definitely not that two Big Ten, because the Michigan schedule isn't good enough. So the problem there is it's I think you're crazy to be like an Oregon and schedule Georgia to start the season. But, there's a flip side to that. Michigan played a true preseason schedule. Now, they usually don't duck teams in non-conference play. They've been really good at it. But this year, I think it was Colorado State, Hawaii. I think it's UConn was the other one. I mean, they didn't exactly extend themselves. And then they had an easy part in the Big Ten season to open things up. And look, they got by Penn State, they got by Michigan State, and there's, if you get by Ohio State, then no one's complaining. But long-winded way of saying the Ohio State-Michigan loser, especially if it's Michigan, isn't going to have the same respect as the Georgia-Tennessee loser Tennessee's going to have.
Okay, so what about LSU, Tennessee, and Georgia? That trio right there.
That's the nightmare scenario for the committee, because what do you do? I mean, on a 4 best team theory, first of all, this all sucks. They should expand it already and just say, hey, look, you win your conference champion. There needs to be a mechanism where we aren't relying on the judges and you can win your way in. But let's say LSU does beat Georgia. Let's say LSU beats 12-0 Georgia. And let's say Tennessee just rips through its last 2 games and does what it did against Missouri. How do you say, hey, look, LSU, nice job. You just won the best college football conference going, and you beat the undefeated #1 Georgia team. But you know what? We're not taking the best team, the conference champion, because we're going to take these 2 other teams. What do you do with that? I mean, you've never taken a 2-loss team in. I think you kind of blow off Florida State, because in that opener, had they played, anybody else first and had a warm-up game, I think they win that. But look, that's the problem, because you're going to take a Big Ten champion. If TCU goes undefeated, you got to take them. They're in no matter what. I do think that TCU is going to blow it in the Big 12 championship. I don't think USC is going to be a 12-1 Pac-12 championship. So I do think there's going to be a lot of elimination inside here. So,
Pete, great stuff, my friend. Thanks for doing it.
Anytime. You have a good one.
You too, man.